Welcome to Minnesota Sports Talk. I'm Josh Coan.
I'm Carter Burquest.
Today we're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. We had an NBA draft. We picked a little bit lower than we normally pick, but that's a good thing, kind of, because we're in the playoffs at least. Hopefully we don't get stuck in that, losing in the first round. Sorry, being negative right away. Didn't mean to do that. Let's talk about the Wolves draft picks. In the first round, we took Josh Okogie, I think is how you pronounce it. And then in the second round, we got Bates-Diop from Ohio State. So let's talk about these two picks. Let's talk about the Wolves draft. Do you like the guys that we picked? Do you think they'll fit in nice with this roster?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit here about the difference between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Minnesota Vikings and my thoughts there. And this is what I tell everybody when they ask me, what did you think about the draft? Well, if Rick Spielman had drafted these players, I think I'd be all over it. I trust Spielman. I trust what he's going to do. I trust his evaluations, and that gets me behind these picks. Tom Thibodeau is the exact opposite. If he likes somebody, I don't trust that at all. And so I think that shades my vision. What my thoughts are on this draft really has nothing to do in reality with the players themselves. Is I think what they fit probably is what we needed and should fit well with the Timberwolves, but I just don't trust Tibbs to draft and develop these players, and that shades my vision a little bit. I think Okogie has a lot of potential, a 3-and-D wing, which is exactly what we needed. We have no depth there. So somebody who's extremely athletic, long wingspan, had the second highest vertical. I mean, maybe it was tied for the highest vertical in the draft. Seems to be a decent catch-and-shoot player and should be able to develop if the coaching staff will give him a chance to develop, which, quite frankly, I don't think Thibodeau will. But if he does, I think it's exactly what we needed. We need wing depth for sure. Bates-Diop in the second round, I think is a really nice pick. Big Ten Player of the Year, a power forward, someone that I think will fit really nicely alongside Cat. But again, we'll need a little bit of development, and I don't know that our coaching staff will give that time to them as Thibodeau has a long history of not playing rookies, of riding the starters' minutes, which we've talked about over and over. But on the surface, the players themselves, I think they fit very well with what we needed, but it's going to come down to, can the coaching staff develop these players? And I have next to zero faith that they can actually do that.
Yeah, I don't want to pile on top of the Wolves organization and Tibbs any more than you already have, but I think we're kind of in the same boat here where I don't necessarily trust him. So as little as I know about these picks, if it was Greg Popovich picking these guys, then I would say he nailed it every single time because Popovich has a history of nailing it. With Tibbs, you look at his history, short history with the Wolves. Chris Dunn, with a very high pick, was his first year, and then we traded him. So either he wasn't good or we traded a good player. Either way, doesn't look good for Tibbs there. And then Patton, we didn't even get to see him play at all. So either he wasn't good enough to play at this level, or we drafted a talented guy, and it was Coach Tibbs instead of President Tibbs that didn't play him and didn't have him part of the team this year. So either way, not a lot of confidence when you look at the recent history of Tibbs with the Minnesota Timberwolves and draft picks. That being said, I agree with you. I like long, athletic guys. I think they're versatile. They can hopefully contribute on defense right away, which is obviously something we need, especially perimeter defense. I don't know how much they help us shooting wise. Like you said, they can develop into 3-and-D type players, or at least Okogie can, but they're not necessarily great three-point shooters. And I still want three-point shooters. And as much as I don't really like Grayson Allen and his attitude and his issues and whatever, he's a shooter. And I didn't want him, but I don't think I would have been that upset if we picked him just because he can shoot. Again, not trusting Tibbs a whole lot. I can't rave too much about these guys. We're just gonna have to wait and see if we got the right guys.
For sure. And one thing too, and this is maybe unfair because we don't know if they actually did or not, but I think I would have loved, as watching the draft play out and watching Michael Porter Jr. fall as far as he did, somebody who has #1 overall pick potential, that's somebody that I would love to see you go up and get it. You're picking in the 20s. Maybe we had some assets, maybe you don't, but he's a guy that could turn into a legit star, and he's only 6 picks away from you. I don't think it would have costed too much to go up and get him, and that's one time where I'm like, man, I really wish you would have gone up and got a guy like that, take that big swing. at somebody like that. But again, those guys that we picked maybe could have picked a little bit later. But again, I don't know if we actually were trying to move down and couldn't and just ended up having to pick there or not. But I think we both agree that this just comes down to our faith in the coaching staff and the fact that we just don't have much faith there. But hopefully they can restore that. They can turn into good picks, good players, as I think the player themselves fits well with what the Wolves are looking for.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. Let us know what you guys think about the Wolves picks. Do you like what we got? Should we have tried to trade up or down, do something different? Do you think they'll fit in well with the current roster we have right now? Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
See ya.